Right guys, well today we are unboxing another giant, and this one comes straight from the spider shop. So let's get into it. So in here, should have a few things. I should have our expected giant and something to house it in. Now as usual for the spider shop, it is packaged immaculately. Now, in this nicely packaged glass box is the giant we were talking about. It is known to have quite a nasty bite on it, and it is also known for the vast amount of legs that it has. And some of you keepers out there might already know it is just from that, and it is a beauty. So in here is one of the largest species of centipede in the world, and that is Scolopendra dehaani. So this is one of the Thai varieties, and it is an absolute monster. Look at that. It's a beast. And this is going to be its fancy new home. Now let me just get the rest of all these peanuts out. There you go. I've given it a quick disinfect as well, just because you never can tell if there's been anything near it or around it you need to be worried about. And I've got to say, this is my first time using one of these spider shop enclosures, but I am very impressed. It's nice and sturdy, it's raised off the ground, the silicone looks nice and neat, and I am very happy with the way this lid locks into place. So it's got a little bit at the back that it slides into to stop it being able to pop up. It's got a clip at the front to hold it in place, and it also has some clips at the back that can be pushed in to stop it being able to slide out at all. And when you're dealing with centipedes, what you definitely want is something that's secure. So just having this is going to be a massive peace of mind that we don't have to worry about our little 100-legged friend escaping. Now before we get too close a look at this guy, I think we will set up the enclosure so that it's ready for it. But that is an absolute beauty. It's a very good specimen. No legs missing, it doesn't look like. Even its terminal legs are there, its antennae are really good, it's got a nice shine to it. Very healthy centipede, that's awesome. So we'll keep her, hopefully her to the side, while we set up this enclosure. Now, of course, we are going to be going bioactive with this build, which is not as daunting as you might think. And it all starts with a good substrate. So just as usual, I use a substrate mix where organic topsoil is the main ingredient. There's a reason I use organic topsoil, and that's because it's not going to contain any of the nasty stuff like fertilisers and pesticides and things that some of your other topsoils you can have. Saying that though, there is some grey areas in what is organic and what is not, so always make sure you check the ingredients to see if there is anything that's been added. You can never be too sure. For this girl, I'm going to give her a decent level of substrate, at least a couple of inches, because they will burrow, and I want to make sure she has plenty of space to do that if she wants to. And I also want a lot of that substrate to be able to support the plants that I'm going to put in here as well. Now this tank that I've got here might be considered quite low by a lot of centipede keepers. So one of the kind of safety things you can put in place is to have a enclosure that is taller than your centipede is long. And if it isn't going to actually be able to reach the top to be able to climb out. But I am happy with how secure that lid looks, that we don't need anything too tall. And for me, having this space is actually quite important because it's not a huge room that I'm using, as you can probably see. You might be able to pick up from some other videos. And I've just realised that I forgot the water dish, so I'll be back in a wee second. There we go, this should be good. And I'm just going to put it, in fact, I'll pop it at the front here, just so it's a bit easier to access. And with any bioactive build, I like to start with a bit of live moss. Just going to press that into the corner there, and along the front. Got a little stick with some moss in it that I think I'll pop beside the water dish there. Some more moss at the front, maybe some on the side here. And now that I've got my live moss at the front, the rest of the moss I'm going to use is actually dried sphagnum. So this stuff I don't have to worry about taking over the enclosure or looking after, and what it is going to do is lock in a lot of moisture content and help increase that humidity within the terrarium. So obviously, as you can probably guess from the name, these guys are from Thailand, and they do come from quite deep primary rainforest a lot of the time, although you can find them in tertiary and secondary as well. But they do like very humid and quite hot environments. Let's give it a little spray just to wet it down and stop it moving as much. Now that we've got our moss in, we're going to start thinking about the wood. So there's a couple of different pieces I've got here. I have got some cork bark, which is brilliant wood to include because it is mould resistant. And when you've got a high humid setup, like what you're going to be using with these centipedes, then having something that resists mould is very, very useful. What I want to do is create a lot of space for this centipede to explore and roam. So centipedes can be quite active hunters. They will go out and look for prey when they're hungry, and I want to make sure it's got plenty of surfaces to kind of move across. I do also want to add in a little bit of an accent piece of wood, so this is just some aquarium wood I've got. I think I'll pop it in like that, it looks pretty good. Just to give it something else to move over and crawl over. I don't want to put in anything that's going to be a hazard, but a few extra pieces for it to move around on is awesome, because then I might get to see some of those natural behaviours in the animal that I'm looking for. And that's what I really want to coax out. Right, I think we're looking good so far. Now let's think about the plants. So to start with, I've got one of my favourites here, and this is one of our philodendrons, and these thrive in setups like these. I'm going to put this one at the back and allow it to climb over some of this cork bark. And the other good thing about that is because I've got the big pile of sphagnum at the back, that's going to help it root. So it'll be able to sit in that, get a lot of moisture, and it'll root a little bit quicker than it would just in soil. So that's really handy. I think that looks pretty good. Got some more plants here. These are both types of Tradescantia, and they are very quick growing. If you get a chance, grab these from your garden centre. If you've got one pot, it grows so quickly that you probably won't need to get many more plants. You'll have plants for life for doing these plantings. Having plants around water dishes are quite handy because it means any water that does get knocked over, it's just going to water your plants rather than it just seeping into the soil and perhaps sitting stagnant. They will be able to uptake that excess moisture. I think we need one in this corner here. Go, that will take root and grow up in no time. And I do think we need one more of these actually. There we go, I think that's looking good so far. We just need a few finishing touches now. And that is going to come in the form of leaf litter. So these guys love roaming through leaf litter and vegetation and stuff on the forest floor. So having all that moss and those plants in there is going to be perfect for it. And all those bits of cork bark for it to climb over. And I've got some slightly bigger leaves here that I'm going to use as well. And hopefully with that, it is looking a bit more like a jungle floor. And that means our last job is to add our new inhabitant. Look at that. Absolutely incredible. Now a lot of people are scared of these animals, but if you're nice and calm around them, then there is nothing to worry about. In fact, they can be very docile. But saying that, I would not handle them. A lot is something I've thought about doing. You don't want to stress them out, and those bites are nasty. Although they're not really bites, they're more like pinches. It is already roaming its new enclosure. Head straight in the water. Very thirsty. So for you guys that aren't aware, centipedes don't breathe through their head. So it might have been a wee bit worrying it's sticking its head in the water like that. It might be thinking, oh, it can't breathe. But they can. They have actually got little spiracles along their body, which are little holes for passive gas exchange. Which means oxygen just passively enters in through those holes. They don't need to breathe, they don't need to put any energy into it, it just happens. Although there is some slight consensus in science that there may be some abdominal action going on. So there might be some areas in certain segments where there is a little bit of motion, kind of pushing up and down to be able to help bring some air in, almost like a set of bagpipes when you squeeze it and let it go. But it can be argued, it's not something that's certain. Now, while this guy is nice and active, I think I would like to try and give it some food. Right, we have got a nice little red runner cockroach here for it. Now, centipedes actually have, oh, there he goes. Centipedes have horrible vision. They really don't have good eyesight, and that's what they're using those big antennae for, those big feelers. They are feeling around for the prey. I'm guessing this little girl must have been quite hungry from the shipping process. She took that straight away. Now, there's only one more thing to do to make this official. Well guys, hopefully you enjoyed that unboxing. The collection here is absolutely racking up. It's amazing, all these things that I am now able to acquire and just keep. It is sometimes crazy that people trust us with these animals, considering how potentially dangerous they could be. But I am in love with this centipede. I've wanted a dehaani for so long. I've kept loads of others and I now finally have one in my collection. The Thai Giant Centipede. And it's an absolute beauty at that. I am now going to put this little girl's lid on and let her settle in to her new home. Hopefully she's going to grow to love it. Now, we still do need to come up with a name for this little girl, so you'll have to let me know if you've got any suggestions down in the comments, please. I would love to get you guys naming some of the animals in the channel. And while we're having a little chat, I have noticed that not a lot of my viewers are subscribers. So if you've not already, make sure to follow the channel so you can keep up with what's going on in here. It'd be awesome to have you guys around for this journey. And if you've not, check out my podcast as well. That's been something that I've really enjoyed doing, and if I get enough support, it's something I'm going to be able to keep doing. So again, thank you guys for watching, and until next time, cheerio and rasta. And also, there might be some new things coming with the channel, so make sure you're subscribed to hear what that is.